Hey everybody, welcome back to the South Olympic Branch. This is episode number 85. All right, so I've been working my way down the line here. I can't remember exactly where I left off the last time I showed you guys this, but some of the things I've been doing is sifting out more ballast, putting that on the rails here, adding ground cover, which includes some Scenery Express, Martin Welberg, and Hecky type of vegetation back there. And then and actually like kicking up some of it so that it ends up on the wall there. It's a pretty basic technique there. I'm just using that. I'm letting the scenic cement dribble down the rock face there and just kind of like tapping some on there so it ends up being scattered on there. Looks a little too stark in the camera, I think, but in the human eye, it looks good. And then using some of my more finely sifted sand here, down by here. I haven't decided if I'm going to go most of the way out to the edge or just leave it where it is. It's wide enough for a vehicle, right now, and that probably would be fine for servicing. I also haven't decided whether I'm going to put one of those bumpers down here or whether I'm going to do like maybe a pile of gravel or something like that down here, just to stop cars from rolling off the end of the tracks there. And that groundwork continues. This morning, I got up to the signal here, so and I started going up the grade. I put some glue and some sand in the gap, as there's just a little tiny gap between the chooch wall there and the support for this layer. So that then I just decided to just put the ground stuff in here and see how things work, see how that works out. A couple of episodes ago, I probably talked about, or maybe it was last episode, I talked about using this expanding spray foam insulation. And after I sprayed it, it was kind of soft, and I thought, spongy, and I thought, I'm not really liking that, but maybe it just needs to set up. Well, it's been, probably 3 weeks, at least 2 weeks now. Yeah, time is just a memory or something like that, as Jack Johnson said. Anyway, I cut it back. Still don't like it. I'm probably going to rip it out, maybe put some more of the chooch wall in there, and go back to doing that. And then when that's done, I'll go ahead and work the ground foam and stuff the rest of the way up that slope to match the main line there. Also carried on with the groundwork over here. I don't know if I'm going to leave that tree there. I still haven't decided on that yet. But I've got some more of these casted rocks, and I'm going to line those up, glue them in place, and then put some of the sand around them. Okay, I've been working in the Sculptamold along here, and I'll need to let that dry. I'll come back and give it some stone color paint. And then my next step would be to, maybe ballast up the grade here and fill in with some, other scenery materials in there, some grass or something. Okay, so my Sculptamold is finally solid enough to where I feel good about painting it. And I'm gonna go all the way over here. I think I might take out this foam as well, and maybe put something else in there and see if I like that better. But in the meantime, I'm gonna paint this, and once that's dried, then I'll feel good about ballasting these tracks here. And I was thinking about it late last night, and I realized that I'm only about, a couple feet away from having this ballast over here, filled into that ballast over there. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. Before I go too far over here though and start putting stuff in over here, I need to get a backdrop in there. I'm not using that one because I don't want the nuclear power plants in more than one place. They're already over on the backdrop over here. So I'm going to use a more generic, repetitive one. I think that's going to be the what I call the herd road backdrops, which are the ones like those. So I grabbed out a couple of brushes, palettes, and some paints here, and I'm going to start tinkering with putting some color on that. I also put some water in a couple of spots on the palette here, so it just helps to kind of turn it into a wash, and I'll do that on the fly. So I started out here with some thinned Woodland Scenic Stone Gray. And while that was kind of good, I didn't exactly like the color. I can't say what's wrong with it. It just didn't look quite right to me. Then I switched over to some ceramic coat like rain gray, and you'll see that here in a second as this video is sped up. Both of these were thinned, but the rain gray was just too light. I ended up using a paper towel and dabbing off some of the paint, and that helped with the overall look. After looking at the results I was getting, I decided to switch over to my chalkboard paint, but not before I took some thin black and did a wash of that. And now that I'm there, and see, that looks too thick. I don't know if you guys can even see this in the video, but I'll start working it off of there here in a minute, and just sort of working my way down. I suppose it would be more efficient if I actually just dabbed the brush off before before I did this. Allergies are kicking my butt this morning, so yeah, I probably should do that. Probably would look better too. So anyway, just dabbing a little bit of serious gray on there. I think I'm going to let this dry for now and revisit it later. See if I want to do anything else with it. The other day, I found out that Athearn was having a sale directly, and I thought, well, that's interesting. Let's see what they got. I went and looked, and I actually found stuff that might be on my list here for stuff to have. Never got a shipping notification from, but out on my porch was a delivery. So let's see what's in this box. A lot of packing. Okay. I'm guessing they felt like they couldn't fit both of those packages in here. So these are Washington Central gondolas, and those look pretty cool. I'll have to check those out here in a little bit. A lot of box for what I ordered. I didn't feel like I ordered that much, but I guess maybe they just felt like that wouldn't safely ship all in one. Whatever, shipping was free. Oh, okay, maybe I ordered more than I thought I did. They had some, what are these? The 4700 covered hoppers. This sale was 60% off, although it was a very limited amount of stuff that they had. So I was surprised that I found as much as I did. Okay, so let's take a look at this dry bench keel and tank car. In case you're curious, this is Athearn 16352. So, not a Genesis car, but I think I'd probably, with my plan to do operations, I would kind of think maybe those would get broken if I had that. Trying not to get this. You know what? I should use the plastic. Okay, cool. The JM Huber car. I do have a couple of these cars. I've got a lot more corn syrup cars though than I have chemical cars. And since I've got, you know, plans for the chemical plant and plans for the paper mill on the layout, it seems like both of these cars would be good cars to have. Okay. Okay, let's check out these Washington Central gondolas. Better kind of give the old tank cars a push. Now, apparently I told a friend about this. I discovered through listening to Athearn's Train Tuesday that they were having this sale go on, but they didn't tell you what the coupon code was. I had to dig up their Facebook page to find that out. And then I kind of looked at it and went, oh, well, there's some stuff on here I actually like to have. Sorry, I couldn't have told you guys like when that was going on, but maybe next time I'll make a short if I see it. So 3 of those. I can't see the build dates on these, but my friend George seemed to think they were within my era. Metal wheels, the typical Athearn, you know, McHenry couplers. I'm not a big fan. Actually, I'm not a fan of McHenry couplers at all, so I'll be changing those to KDs. So, that's the way it goes. I think most of my friends who are trained guys would also do the same thing. So this package came with was a 3-pack of these. And if I'm being honest, I probably could have been with one, but the thing is this package was 60% off and put me over the threshold for free shipping. So I was like, well, okay. There was some stuff I ordered a few months ago. You guys might remember me talking about some Tangent grain cars. And unfortunately, one of those was damaged in shipping. And I can't tell exactly what's wrong with it. But it doesn't roll very well. It occasionally derails. Okay, last of the bunch. Gosh, this is a lot. I feel like maybe I need to slow my roll. Get a train, slow my roll. Anyway, oh, the weight's not tied down in that one. Hopefully it doesn't lean. I might have to figure out how to get the lid up, or that piece off of it. Okay, so here's something. Of course, these are not Athearn's high-end cars, but so these were really inexpensive. But I'm going to show you that. You see that roof walk there? That's nice and it's popped up. It looks like it popped out of the alignment hole. I could probably fix that. And of course, I don't like the fact that the thing rattles. That's not cool. I'll have to go ahead and get out the rest of that set and see if they all have ish. But I've often found that grain cars from various manufacturers, that the roof walks pop. The only ones I've found that don't readily do that have been exact rails. Well, okay, to be fair, Tangent as well. But those cars are a lot more expensive than these. Way more expensive. Yep. All three of them have popped. So something I'll have to fix. Okay, here's a funny one, guys. I just fixed one of those cars by taking a piece of rail and moving the pushing that pin a little bit in. Yeah, there we go. See? That worked out. That turned out to be a lot less of a pain in the rear to fix than I thought it would be. I continued ballasting and continued doing ground cover after I got the rock wall built here, and put some hecky static grass patch in there. So I think I'll probably do something with the area between the two tracks there too. I just haven't decided what more than just the green ground cover yet. And then, like I said, I got the ballast up to the point where it ends up with the ballast on the that I'd done way earlier through the cut. This is an all Athearn train here, led by the Genesis GP9 with a tsunami decoder in it, and these most recent Athearn purchases here with the 3 tank cars and the 3 gondolas and the 3 covered hoppers. These 2 open auto racks are Athearn Genesis. One's a Northern Pacific and the other one is a Frisco. This is all followed up by an Athearn Genesis caboose. As the train rolls by, you'll notice that it's a couple cars shorter. And the reason for that is those McHenry couplers didn't even last one trip around the layout. So now I'm in the process of replacing them. I've now put a little bit of light gray pan pastel on this car with just a sponge. And then I'm kind of experimenting with painting the wheels, and I did this other car. So I just did some flat US brown Vallejo Air, but I just put it on with a brush. So I'll probably do another car. Kind of thinking that maybe I want a little darker brown, but my next shade down is really dark. So, well, maybe I have a mission model one that would work. Then I decided to put a little bit of that gray on the sponge and work it on to the trucks. Look at this, just a touch of that gray. And then if I take it and just rub it onto that truck, what that does. And then I could come back with some brown. And again, there's the original, right? And there's the one that's finished. Takes about, 2 seconds to do this. Now, of course, you should probably put some sealant on this for like handling, but look, I'm trying to rub that off and it's really not coming off. So you can kind of get away without doing that. Time to work some color onto the next car. Not a lot there, but I'm going for light weathering. And I'm using kind of a black color. Whoops, overdid that one. It's okay. It will be all right. Hey, not getting into the camera. Here we go. See, that one got a little bruised looking, so I'm just gonna work on that. I'm gonna rub it in a little bit more. And then do the end. Now, the end of the car, right? You can take the piece here, and I need to get more of the darker stuff, because the stuff that gets flung from the wheels. Ooh, look at that. Yeah, that's a little much. I'll rub that back up off of that. Some people like to do weathering heavy, some people like to do weathering light. I'm more of a light weathering person most of the time. Unweathered, except for the wheels there, versus weathered. On this car, I've also changed the couplers to KDs. I haven't gotten around to it on that one yet. Here I'm replacing the McHenry couplers that came on the unit with the KD 158s, and voicing this over because I had some music playing. You can just, if you know Van Halen's Jump, you can just imagine that playing in the background. And but YouTube doesn't want to have that stuff playing because it's copyrighted. Anyway. Couple of the cars now back on the layout with their newly weathered trucks and wheels. And this one I haven't done yet, so we'll see how that goes. You can hardly tell if you can tell at all, that I did a little weathering on the side of the car as well. But I think I'll be using my airbrush on those at a later date to give a nice thinned white coating of wash on that. On the hoppers, I couldn't get away with changing out the couplers with the trucks on there. So I went ahead and took them off. And while I was at it, I, painted the wheels, as you can see here. I'm also using a little thinner brush than I was using on the previous part of the project. And it's just a couple of drops of mud brown and spinning the axles around. And tonight over near the yard, I did some more ballast work over here. Here goes my railroad scanner. I mentioned earlier in the video that I was going to take these casted rocks and put them up against this, glue them in place, and put some of the sand in there, and I've done some of that. I've got more work to do on that. I also added some more ground cover. The kind of static grass area in this right here is looks like pads of this mini nature that I get from Scenic Express, and some different thicknesses and stuff there. I kind of pull that apart, cut it apart, and kind of mash it down and stick it down, and combined with some Woodland Scenics ground foam around it. Well, I kind of like the way that turned out. I'm going to take some of the gravel here, or I've been taking some of the mixed unsifted play sand, and basically shoveling some of it up against the rocks, and then using a brush to kind of move it more into where I want it to be. I think that looks pretty good. I'm going to glue that down, and then I may revisit it and add some more before I come back in here and fill in this area of ground cover. You can tell I've already done a little bit of gluing there. Just going to get some more Woodland Scenics in my pipette. Make sure this stuff is really secured down. So essentially what's going to happen eventually over here, I think, is I'm going to come back with static grass in part of this area. And static grass, of course, means vacuuming it when it's done. So that will pull any loose gravel off of there, which is not what I want for this area. Back at the helix, I'm working on the hill that's next to the creek here. And I did some cutting of the foam. Took this 2-inch piece of foam in my foam knife that that uses a hot wire. It's not the hot wire brand foam knife, but anyway, got that there. That's pretty close to where I want it. I think I'm going to need to trim back the edge here a little bit, and then I'll probably put some more foam underneath here to fill this in, so it'll go right up to the abutment right over here. And I probably said this before, but I think I'm going to put a small house up here and a whole bunch of trees. And after I re-notch the backdrop here so it goes this way a little bit more, and I have all the trees back here, I think I can hide where I scooped in and where I cut that extra wide over there. I may stack up some more foam, put some bunch of trees back there. We'll see. Maybe I'll have to buy another backdrop. Hope not. And then I think I'll go back inside the helix there and probably put like scenery beyond the backdrop, so that when you're looking at a train going in there, you just see it going into the trees. It sounds like a cool idea. If if you're ever out in southwestern Washington, out in the Elma and Montesino area, but once you get west of there, you're heading towards Centralia. There's a lot of places where the trees are just they just dwarf the railroad, and you can't even see the trains. As we roll along on the lower deck of the layout, you can truly tell that it's still very much a plywood Pacific. Boy, that Jeep 7-2 is sure pretty, isn't it? Oh, I'm just kidding. There's no such thing as a Jeep 7-2. Well, at least I don't think there is, and I'm not going to go look it up. I decided to pair up these two Athearn Genesis locomotives, the first one being Burlington Northern 1741, which was a chopped nose Jeep 9, and that's paired up with the Weyerhaeuser Bicentennial painted Jeep 7. Both of these units are tsunami equipped. However, the Weyerhaeuser one has a Tsunami 1, whereas the Burlington Northern one has a Tsunami 2 and has a really nice sounding horn. As we approach Elma, off in the distance you can see the cooling towers for the never-completed Washington Public Power Supply nuclear plants 3 and 5 at Sassup, also known as Whoops. Thanks for joining me for my South Olympic Branch episode number 85. Until next time, take care and have fun with your trains out there, everybody.